a general thinning of the overall mental body in the mental matrix. So that the astral body has a relaxation hit, physical body feels more content, relaxed. But it's not necessarily going to switch on any psychic skills. It's just going to make them more sensitive to psychic information because they're generally more thinned out. When we build the wall and we are here in our mental space and it's conducting through the hands, the mental matrix of the hand stretches into the ball. So it's moving into that space to sensitize the energy there. So we're feeling because of the way the matrix and the mind stretch. When you're just relaxing out, you feel good, you're more sensitive to the environment, but it's not a peak sensitivity because we need to specifically specify what we want to get what we want. When we're opening the mental body and thinning out, all we get is what our partner is giving us is, relax, I feel good, I feel open, and that's exactly what we're giving, that's what they're getting. If you want a specific type of skill, you have to release the matrix in relationship to the skill. So, does anyone here is highly visual? Do you have a lot of clairvoyant experiences? See a lot?
What love means?
Sorry?
What love means?
Well, you have peak experience where you're getting strong visuals, you'll see spirits, auras here and there, and getting stuff happening. Sometimes.
A few times a day.
Sorry? Yep. Okay, so if you want to jump up. All right, so behind, and you stand in front of him. So, and you face that way. Now what I want you to do is look out to nature over there, maybe look at that plant, and I just want you to touch his field, float him, bring him, open him up. Yep, good. Now you've got him open. Now I want you to just simply remember a moment where you had a clairvoyant quality and stretch through your eyes, through his eyes, and look through his eyes at the plants over there. And that quality that you experience when you have a clairvoyant insight, I want you to relax it through his mental matrix, through his eyes, and stretch it all the way out to those plants over there. Just keep relaxing it open within the matrices of his eye consciousness, in the matrices of your eye consciousness. Just look through his eyes over to those plants. Open it up a bit more. Now separate all those layers of the mental body for the eyes. Good. Keep separating them. And just be aware of the separation of those layers. Now remove the intention out of those layers. Sort of so you're a little bit blank, a little bit equanimous in that thinning of the matrices. And pull those layers apart a little bit more. Now remove intention out of that. Just keep an openness in the eye consciousness, in equanimity. you to stay with that for a minute, and then I want you just to step back and he can just maintain it himself. And keep those eye consciousness layers open and investigate them. And as you investigate them, just take ownership of the layers and the qualities that you want to maintain through more attention on those particular states. You can stay there for as long as you want, or sit down whenever you want, fully up to you. All right, so when you're transmitting a skill to someone, you have to soften the matrix in resonance with the skill. So it's a clairvoyant skill. What allows you to be clairvoyant around another person who's clairvoyant is relaxing your matrix on their clairvoyance. And if you want to give someone a skill you've got, you have to relax their matrix on the skill. So you can capture someone's skill by knowing they have it, tuning into it and releasing your matrices on that frequency, and you experience their skill. Or they can consciously project a skill to you by doing it for you. So it can go either way. You can steal their kung fu, or someone can give you their kung fu. And it can work both ways. It'll depend on your ability to understand the matrices of what allows for skill transfer to happen. Now, skills that are in resonance with a person's path of service will transfer much more easily than skills that aren't. Because it's kind of like, yep, that piece of the puzzle is meant to go there. Oh, that's a new piece that we don't have in the plan yet. Maybe we'll put it in, maybe we won't. So you can constantly keep expanding the picture by adding new pieces in if you want. Or you can just go, put the pieces where they're meant to be. And as soon as you start choosing vows of a path of service, inside of those vows, inside that path of service, there's certain skills you need to perform that vow. And because you're dedicating energy to a stream of people moving forward, the pieces of the puzzle tend to pull into place much more quickly. And you want to use this with skills that people are meant to have and that people need for their path of service, and things just click in very, very fast. Now, if they have resistance sort of to, let's say, for teaching spiritual development, there's a high degree of responsibility, and there'll be unconscious resistance to that responsibility because aspects of the person's black and white mirror may not have been sorted out. The lifestyle, what they think and feel may not be sorted out, and they think, oh, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough. So then you'll go, well, let's just release those things out of the way so that these skills can transfer. So it may be a part of the future, but are they ready? Are they committed for the responsibility? Do they have the work ethic? What's the situation? And then you'll have to support them in releasing those things before they can take that commitment. And everyone's got a different situation with that. But the moment they choose, this is what I want, then the skills that you've transmitted and the seeds you've planted just go click, 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 everything's happening. They're on track because they've synchronized their physical lifestyle, their astral, and their mental to their spiritual life, and they go. So if the person has lifestyle problems, it'll get blocked. If they have emotional problems, it'll get blocked. And there's a certain synchronicity that needs to happen for this to be highly successful. And how did you go with that exercise? What was your experience?
From the sequence beginning, I felt the energy moving through, and then when we started opening the matrices, it wasn't just the eye matrix of all the matrices, but when it was the eyes, there was a lot of pressure, and the vital field of the plant started to illuminate, essentially. But it's still actually a little, it's like almost like my eyes are trying to focus. And then it was just paying attention to the different layers that
Okay, if you do this in Khoisan in the evening, it's spiritually really crowded there. There's spirits everywhere, especially around Kukai's mausoleum in the graveyard area. So you open your clairvoyance there and sort of like, Jesus is, you know, very, very, very full of spiritual intelligence. So practicing in that environment at night is very, very, very beneficial. Right now, it's really cold up there. It must probably be snowing, you know. If it's like last night, was it 1 degree last night or something? Yeah, up there it'd be snow. So you have to dress right up, get gloves if you're going to go and do that in an evening at this time of year. But the value for it is very, very high in that environment because there's a lot of spiritual intensity in the environment. There's a lot of spiritual beings, and there's a lot of accumulated faith and power in the astral space. So you relax in the astral space and things open up, and they open up quickly. So that environment, it adds, it propels the experience because of the place you're in. Okay, so what I want you to look at as you partner up, what skill can I give to my partner? If you're good with feeling energy and you have psychometry skills, you have clairvoyant experiences. In my earlier life, my most intense clairvoyant experiences would be at the moment I woke up. Just as I'm coming up to consciousness, spiritual will be right there, and then spiritual will start to close as I woke up. So I'd go to that frequency of starting to wake up, and then tune my eyes, thin my matrices while I'm normally fully awake, and then there's clairvoyance. So you can use a past experience and a time of day, what consciousness were you in alignment, and then you open the person's matrices through that, and they have the experience. Because remember, the person you're running energy is fully receptive to, yeah, do whatever you want, run whatever frequency you want through there, and we'll explore and experiment with it. So whatever your skill is, whatever gate it works through, explain it to your partner. This is an experience I had, and I want to attune you to the frequency of alignment of that experience, and then the matrices out, and then guide them through it. It doesn't have to be clairvoyance. It can be any of the gates, and share something with your partner. So it's a skill you can invoke anytime, or it's a memory of an experience. Because when you have that experience, your system remembers the matrices had a certain alignment. You tune your mind to the experience and you relax it through their matrices. As long as their matrix is open, aligned to your experience, which you're releasing open, they will be receptive to that experience and that skill. Now, if you have a well-developed skill, so let's say you're a musician, you open the matrices of you playing that instrument in another person while they play the instrument. And they start picking up your skill. And that's how you transmit musical skills, or any skill for that matter, is you simply open the matrices within the person who's performing the skill, and you give them what you've got. And the reason why people don't learn fast is they think too much. And thinking blocks the matrices. They've got to be open and feeling and receptive. Thin everything, get everything out. Now my unconscious is receptive to receiving. Of course, your precepts and your ethics statement really matter, because you can't just give a person a skill. There's going to be emotional relationships to every time you've used a skill. There's going to be your precepts have an undertone in how you apply your skill, your beliefs about good and bad, about your skill. You have all these associated statics and energies around it that part of them are going to transfer whether you like it or not. So really consciously stay in your ethics statement, and unconsciously fill yourself with light and ask for support when you're giving something to someone else. So you're only giving your best. Okay, any questions on how to do that? Yeah.
So when we're giving a skill, we thin out our own matrices as well as theirs?
Yeah, you thin your matrices out to the skill, to its peak.
Yeah.
So you align yourself, and then you open the matrices to align them to it, and you guide them through whatever is required for for them to have the experience. Like in this case, it was stretching the matrices outside to look at a plant, and then as it stretched out, his mind touched it, his astral body touched it, his matrices opened, and clairvoyance started to activate, and he saw the field of the bush outside. But the mind has to touch it. Same as light has to touch my eye to see. If light didn't touch my eye, I wouldn't see anything. So it's physical energy is touching my eye. Astral energy touches your astral eye. Mental energy touches your mental eye. Then you see. So I've got to stretch and touch with consciousness the tree, and then open the matrix to see more, and the tree. That's why you stretch to the wall, and then you relax and everything open. The matrix relaxes outside of the body, and there's a condensing of energy, and you feel. It happens through increase of volume and stretching outside the body. So there's a gap that forms, and the matrix stretches, and you thin it out, and boom, it happens. Now, there's a high degree of creativity in this, as into what is the skill you want to give to your partner, and how can they express and experience it. So you can refer to any clairvoyant experience you've had and give that to your partner and just repeat the exercise we just did. It might be the ability to feel energy in a particular way. It might be an ability to hear, taste, scent. It may be a mind state, the mind gate, where you had an intense spiritual experience, and you activate it within yourself, and you touch your partner and release their matrices and align them to your spiritual experience so they can experience it. So it can be any of the 6 gates. And there are other gates beyond that, but you don't need to worry about them until you get these gates worked out. It's like extensions. You look at the sensory perceptions of animals, the radar that animals have for the environment. We don't have those gates active, but animals do. So there's all these other gates that can be opened up as well. They're actually in our DNA. They're just we have so little knowing about them. They're just switched off, and that's what makes it interesting working with animals. Is they have that, and you can tune in more sensory perceptions if you chose. It does have a tendency to sort of hold you more in the nature magic, though, when you start working with those. Not ideal for Buddhistic ascension to get to Nibbana, yeah, but very good for nature magic. If you live in the forest, it's perfect.
So if you're stealing someone's kung fu,
Mm-hmm.
would they know?
Unlikely, unless they're very, very sensitive.
Okay, so if I wanted to take your translation ability, like translating the information that you received from light,
You might get your shoulder ticking very fast.
so that was going to be my second question. So are there implications when you just take it?
Well, everyone's got a karma of how they got to where they are and all the implications for them being there. You want to drop the karma and just take the skill. So the alignment of the matrices in the moment of the peak is what you want to align to, and drop all the hard work and just steal it. Good luck with that.
How would you even tune into their peak of that?
The exercise we did this morning, a causation chain of moving from observing the mental to observing a thought form to the stillness underneath the frequency. Whatever you're tuning into, just the same process to get to the stillness underneath, and then just release the matrices of that skill, that frequency. And the whole book is pretty much contained in the exercise we did this morning. It just expands on that fundamental skill.
I had a few very very nice peak experience, but I never be able to activate it or quite enjoy it.
First is remembering clearly the experience, remembering where you had the experience. It's stored in the place.
Okay.
So it's in your body, but it's also in the place. So when I go back to peak experiences in my past, I'll go, where was I? And I'll do an akasha breath into where I was, and that activates it within me. Because there was lunar cycles, there are cosmic cycles, there's nature energies moving in that place at that time. So in the Akasha, it all exists in the Akashic memory. But in your body, you're in this place and this time, so you only have a partial connection. So go back to where it happened, when it happened, and I found where seems to matter more than when, because where opens the door to when, and your body seems to take care of the when, and your mind just has to go to the where. A few Akasha breaths, remember the experience and invite it back in, and surrender yourself to alignment to it, and it'll just peek out. You'll find that with this, just giving the intention for them to have the experience and releasing the matrices for it will bring it in, even though you may not be fully experiencing yourself, because your body remembers, your unconscious remembers, your energy system remembers, and you can give that to them even though you're not fully experiencing it now. You just have to wish it for them and open the matrices for it. The spirit's very sensitive to these blueprints. You know, you can imprint information there and release on it, and things happen. So that's why the ethics statement really matters with this. Releasing someone's matrix on an idea drops the seed of the idea in until things align and it happens. So it's just so simple, but it's so powerful. The matrix is what I control all our values, all our beliefs, all our perceptions. It's just when the matrices were aligned in such a way they're open, information comes in, we think it's ours. It's literally that simple. And if you're saturated in an environment where beliefs are being constantly bombarded, they're seeping through the cracks until you become your environment. You can't stay in a negative environment and not have it affect you. It's going to. It's just going to saturate slowly, no matter how strong your protective chi is. You can't stay protected all the time. There's rhythms. And every time you're in a vulnerable rhythm, stuff's going to seep through. And we kind of already know all that. Now we want to take advantage of it to transmit skills to our training partner. And let's say each person here has had a type of clairvoyant experience of some type. And each person transmits through you that clairvoyant experience. Now, you take these 9, 10 clairvoyant experiences, and then your system morphs it into a unique application for you. It evolves into something different. It won't remain constant with them. It'll become yours, and it'll mix with your skill and everything else, and it goes into a different state of expression. That's kind of fun and kind of exciting, because we're built to evolve. And it may just align to your unique use case, and the other stuff will just drop away. It's not needed. Your unconscious and your spirit senses will align it. Especially in this environment, it'll align it to what you need, what's best for you.
Are we talking the person through what to expect, or will that block it if we sort of say...
You just want to, is it eyes, and you stretch through the eyes, look. Is it ears, pay attention to sound, stretch through. I like to do a lot of experimenting, so I generally don't tell the person too much, so that when it arrives, that worked well, you know, versus here's an NLP expectation, and then you just open up the expectation and they get a result, but the result will be more in resonance with their perception of how they were thinking, and you're amplifying a thought form and making it a reality in their unconscious, and they consciously experience it, versus a more clean, clear energy transmission. It's always nicest when the person doesn't know what they're getting, and oh wow, that's bonus, versus I've got this idea, see, I was right. You know, it's a different manifestation. Less of their own ego gets in the way as well when you don't give them too much. Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm trying to go back to a deep experience, I feel like my breath gets caught. It's like, it gets to a certain point, it's like, when I go back down, and then I have to go back up again.
Yeah, softening the when the breath locks up and there's something in your astral body which is sort of like a block which is reacting inside your physical body and your breathing. And then stay above it, but just soften down. Don't go into it to soften. So you stay in the state, you go, oh, okay, just release down there, but you stay here, you know. And releasing from above allows you to stay above it as you release to reduce the rhythm. It's just a skill, and we can work on that skill. It's kind of like if I normally we relax and stretch energy out, but if I tighten, you touch my hand, my arm's tight, I still can relax the energy out even though my muscles are content. So that trains the mind to extend energy while I'm contracted. So I have to go from higher mind to the energy to move it, not body energy moving, because it won't move because there's tension if I'm staying in body consciousness. So doing exercises that force the mind to act independently of your own body, then you just go down from your mind and release your own body without having to use your body consciousness to release, if that makes sense. So you just train those types of things for that skill. And if you do experiments all the time, your journals will be full of hacks, skills, how to get around something, how to figure something out, how to do it. And it's kind of it's like, whoa, I've got hundreds of hacks, this is cool. You just keep writing them down every day. There's got to be something. Every time you solve a problem, you write down how you solve the problem. You just did something more efficiently and better, and you got something figured out which you use in the future. You know? But you tend to forget them if you don't write them. In the last 5 years, I've almost stopped journaling. So a lot of the way I would normally culminate skills has changed. Where pre-COVID, I was using pads, writing them down, sticking them on the wall, contemplating all these mechanisms, and so it stayed much more fresh on the mind. And because since COVID I've been living in hotels, you can't really use that, and my eyes aren't really good enough to write normally like before. It's just blurry and I can't relate to what I'm writing. So the big pads of paper, you've got to have a place to keep them all and a wall to put them on and so forth. So journaling is a huge value in it. You know, you've got to find a way of doing that efficiently to get the value out of it.